Alrighty, guys. Before we get started, I'm going to have to go solo for a minute, and I'm going to bring my guests in. So let us all exhale for a moment. And I just wanted to say thank you to the Phoenix Suns for an incredible season. This live stream and the video that I recorded before this does not even scratch the surface to how grateful I am for this season. Fantastic basketball entertainment from the Phoenix Suns all year, and what they did to the state of Arizona and to the city of Phoenix will be remembered for years to come. Phoenix Suns basketball is back, and Phoenix Suns fans, despite the disappointing NBA finals and losing, they should be hopeful. I don't really want to go on a rant about how Suns fans are going to react to this, but just know that somebody that's been watching this team for as long as I can remember and has been covering this team on YouTube for years, just know that I am thankful for this team. Phoenix Suns basketball is back. We made it to the NBA Finals. We made it to Game 6 of the NBA Finals. 2 years ago, we won 19 games. We won 19 games. Then last season happened and we won like 30 something games. And then we had the incredible bubble run. And that was kind of that small spark of hope, I think, for Phoenix Suns fans, was that bubble run. And then this season comes along. We start off 8-8. It was a disappointing start to the season. And then all of a sudden things started clicking. We just went on incredible runs. We didn't lose too many games. We definitely didn't lose 4 games in a row. And it was just some of the best Phoenix Suns basketball in franchise history. And then the NBA gods punished us, and we had to verse the Los Angeles Lakers in the first round, and we won that series. And then we swept the Denver Nuggets 4-0. And then we beat the Clippers in 6 games. And we finally made it back to the NBA Finals after 28 years. So, overall, obviously a bad way to end this incredible season. But Phoenix Suns fans, I beg you, please do not be disappointed in the Suns team. Do not be disappointed in the Suns season. It was an incredible year. Support the Phoenix Suns. They are going to come back bigger, better, stronger, healthier, and they're going to be back next year. And I truly believe that we are going to be good for the foreseeable future. So with that being said, I just wanted to, I don't know why I've been drinking these a lot, but they're pretty good. They're tasty. These little Trulies here. I just wanted to say cheers to the Phoenix Suns season. So if you have some water or beer or whatever drinks you're drinking, I'm going to bring in my guest here. Cheers to the Phoenix Suns season. I'll get you guys' opinions in a minute. And I just want to once again say thank you, Phoenix Suns, and cheers. So, not to sound too dramatic to get this live stream started, but I'll start with my guests. First off, thank you so much, Rom 2.0 and Super Mario Hoops 24, for joining me tonight. I definitely need the support during these hard times that I'm going through. So, Romp, just your overall takeaways and thoughts on the Suns season this season, and just your thoughts on this closeout game, because it was incredible. As somebody who's a fan of basketball, it was an incredible game.
Yeah, it was an incredible season for the Suns. I mean, no one expected them to get this far. Let's be real. It's a frustrating end to the season, but you're going to look back in probably 2 years and be like, damn, that was fun. All the times you were watching with your friends or family or whatever. And this was a really enjoyable team for the Suns. Like, I'm sure you guys really, really connected with the players, because all the players just have that grit and grind style of play that you love to support. But going to the closeout game, Giannis had the performance of his life. Unbelievable. I got to apologize to Giannis because I was roasting the fuck out of him after game 2, if anyone was here.
Secretly, Romp. I did
he
this
proved me wrong, and he proved me wrong, but hey, that was my opinion at the time. I like being proven wrong, so congrats to Giannis. He's a hell of a guy, and he deserves this. Same with Drew Holiday. Same with Chris Middleton. I actually picked the Bucks to win before the playoffs, but I don't know. It's crazy. That was one of the greatest performances. So the Suns just couldn't. I mean, it's hard to beat someone when they're going off like that.
And before we get Super Mario Hoops thoughts, if you guys didn't know, Giannis had 50 points, and the Milwaukee Bucks won their first championship in 50 years in incredible fashion. So my guess, Super Mario Hoops, just your overall takeaways, your thoughts on the Suns season, and go for it, man.
I mean, obviously, like Rom said, it's going to be a season to remember. And nobody thought that they were going to get as far as they did. I know
Not even me.
I mean, I picked them to lose to the Lakers, tough as that was. But, you know, the fact that they got past them, they got past the Clippers, the Nuggets, and, I mean, like Rom said, too, it's going to be a season to remember for sure. Obviously, it's tough for, you know, guys like Jay Crowder or Chris Paul, who are, like, veterans at this point, because it's like, well, we don't know how long Jay Crowder will be on this team. I think Chris Paul could obviously be there as long as he wants, but we don't know if they'll get back to the finals in the time that he's there. But like you said, I think that the Suns, like a majority of their core is still young enough that like I expect them to be back or at least be contending for like multiple seasons, that like this isn't the end for them at all. So that's like the good thing. But yeah, it's just like kind of tough, and gotta respect Giannis.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my hope, really, as a Phoenix Suns fan, is just that we will be back next year. And it's not crazy to think that they could be back in the Western Conference Finals or even the finals next year. I mean, obviously, we have a long way to go. We got the draft, free agency, and, you know, we could probably spend a lot of this live stream talking about next season and what's to come, but I'm just trying to stay positive. I'm surprised at myself that I'm not crying. I mean, I almost cried when we beat the Lakers, and here we are. We just lost in the NBA Finals, and I'm not crying. I think it's just because I'm more happy. I'm more optimistic, and I probably will be staying off social media, to be honest, because Suns fans are a little overdramatic. And again, I just cannot express my gratitude to this team. I mean, you know, Romp, you're a Sixers fan. You know what winning's like for the most part. And Super Mario Hoops.
I know what losing is about.
So I don't know what
winning's like.
I don't know what winning's about.
I don't know what winning is.
I haven't seen winning in 10 years.
Hey, you know what? I didn't see winning for 10 years either, and here we are, okay? So
that's true.
But my point is you guys are basketball fans. You guys have seen this before, and I'm just trying to stay hopeful. I think after Game 5, deep down, I think I knew the series was over. And I think I knew the series was over when Giannis was looking like Bill Russell out there. In this game, like we're almost 10 minutes in, and I'm like, the game itself, there was just so many points where they had a great second quarter of the Suns, and I was like, we got to have a huge third quarter. We didn't really have a huge third quarter. And you know what? Fans are going to blame the referees, and maybe I'm stupid, but sure, there was some bad officiating, but that's not why we lost. So I honestly don't even know what I want to talk about in this stream. But Romp, I'll start with you. How do you think the officiating was tonight? And should we blame Scott Foster for the Game 6 loss? Because that's what every Suns fan is probably pointing at.
I don't think so. I thought it was fine, honestly.
There were some weird fouls here and there, but
there's bad calls for both sides. I don't know. I just think Giannis played unbelievable, and Booker kind of got locked down by Drew Holiday, and CP3 hasn't been himself for 3 games now.
And we had a terrible first quarter.
Yeah, terrible first quarter, but you guys came back from that because of campaign.
Yep.
And campaign only got 6 minutes in the first half. I don't understand that.
Super Mario Hoops, what did you see out of campaign tonight? Should they have played him more? Do you think he possibly could have helped win us the game? It was a close game, in all fairness.
Well, I don't know. I think this game was like a weird this is a weird game because it was like a big flashback game for me personally.
It was ugly.
Like the first quarter, campaign was going off, and I'm like, dude, we had this guy in the Bulls, and like we weren't getting any of this. And then second quarter was Bobby Portis, another former Bull, was going off. And then third quarter, Frank Kaminsky. I rooted for that guy, Wisconsin. And in the fourth quarter, I mean, down the stretch, Chris Middleton was hitting shots. And that's probably why you're wondering I'm wearing a Bucks jersey, because the guy he was traded for, who spoke the Bucks in 6.
Hey, you're a basketball fan, man. I know you're a huge Bulls fan, but
Brandon Jennings
he was there tonight, like front row.
Legend.
He was the dance coach, like he was leading all the celebrations. But yeah, I've had this jersey for a while. That's why it's really small. But anyways, like I don't know. I thought campaign. I don't know why he didn't get more time. And like when you saw like Kaminsky making big plays, like in the third quarter, they still started the fourth with him, and he was doing his thing. In terms of the officiating, though, like you said, it was like it was kind of like fair, I'd say. Like there were plays like when Bobby Portis got the foul when Crowder fell, like that wasn't a foul, and then there was also one where they didn't call a foul when like Giannis smacked Booker like right on the arm. Going for the block. So like there's plays you can call it either way.
Exactly.
But yeah.
First off, let me just say that there's a lot of Frank Kaminsky slander, but he played great. And I don't know if this loss goes back to Monty's rotations or players being injured like Dario Sarge and Torrey Craig, who I don't even know if Torrey Craig played many minutes tonight. I think, honestly, Game 5 is what killed us, and I think our bad first quarter is what killed us. And you know what? In all fairness, I kind of criticized Chris Paul after Game 5. He had 21-11 after Game 5, and tonight he finished with 39 minutes, 11 for 19 from the field. He had 26 points. Now, his assists could have gone up. There was a lot of sloppy play from the Suns, bad passes, turnovers. This was just a strange game. And I felt like this had a real 90s vibe to it. Both teams were extremely nervous in the first quarter. I don't care if you're a veteran out there or you're a rookie. Both teams were extremely nervous, and it showed. And somehow the Bucks were up 14 after the first quarter. Booker did get locked down. Let's be real. Drew Holiday deserves so much more credit. Booker was 8 for 22 tonight. He had 19 points. It just seemed like every time the Suns went on a run, it didn't really seem like it mattered, even though they were tied at the end of the third quarter. And I just is what it is, guys.
Yo, Suns
lost, Bucks won.
You know what has to happen to win a championship? You have to fail a lot.
Thank you. Can I cut you off, Romp?
At Giannis.
I was talking to my parents about that. I said the Bucks kind of deserve this because they were good last year. They were good the year before. How long have they been in the playoffs now with Giannis and Chris Middleton? Like
5 or 6 years.
Like 5 straight years.
Yeah, they've been there. 7. They have, even though both teams really do lack finals experience, they're obviously the more experienced team, And I'm not saying, that's why they won, but you guys get my point. So I'm sorry to cut you off, Ron, but I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, but that's why no one really believed in the Suns because it's so rare that a team just goes in and first year back in the playoffs and they get to the finals. I think someone commented it's the first time in 10 years or a lot of years where a team that had a 10+ year drought got to the finals. So it's a crazy season for the Suns.
Shout out to my man, Slick Visions, aka Jeroy. Great YouTube channel. He does great things over there. He says, courage to even talk. Super Mario, you got any thoughts, man? I mean, we're just freestyling this at this point, man. I mean, I feel like, honestly, this series showed us a lot about the Bucks, and I don't know what they're going to do in their offseason, and I don't think they care. You got to assume they're maybe going to give Mike Budenholzer more rope. So what do you think, Super Mario?
Well, I mean, I think the story for most of the playoffs like in terms of like the comeback underdog thing was like the Clippers and how they came back down 2-0 in the first 2 rounds. Well, at the end of it, the Bucks did it in 2 series as well, against the Nets and here against the Suns. So, I mean, that says a lot about them too. I just think it's crazy with, well, first of all, I don't think anyone's really giving credit to the fact that the Bucks were playing without their starting shooting guard ever since the first round, Dante DiVincenzo.
Thank you.
And he was out, the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. So you got to replace him. Obviously, Bryn Forbes wasn't the answer when it came to the finals. So they had to, Budenholzer, I got to give him some credit. Like, he did make the right adjustments. And one of them was sitting Jeff Teague in the last few games. So that was good.
Your boy, Jeff Teague.
But no, I think to go on the point where you said, like, everyone was struggling to start the game, I feel like with the Suns, all those guys that don't have the experience, or even most of those guys are so young, so inexperienced, and it was their first time being in a situation where they were forced against elimination, that I think maybe that kind of messed with them. The Bucks, obviously everyone was talking about the Scott Foster thing. They were talking about the Bucks and 6, motto and stuff like that. And then I think everyone was just already hopping on the train, oh, it's going to happen. So maybe that kind of freaked them out. And then for Chris Paul himself, I think it's just it wasn't a legacy game because of the fact that we already know Chris Paul's one of the better point guards in NBA history, but it's just that feeling of winning a championship, where guys like Karl Malone or, former Sun Steve Nash, where they got close so many times and then couldn't get it done. And it felt like that. And maybe that pressure was kind of getting to him early on. But I mean, sure, he definitely picked it up late in the second quarter. And then the second half, he was doing just about everything he could to try and get the win.
And it's funny you say that too, because we all know he wasn't 100% this final series, and I'm not trying to use that as an excuse to why we lost, but you got to think maybe it plays a factor. And I don't know if it was a legacy game either. I don't even know if Game 5 was. Maybe if we would have won Game 5, this definitely would have been a legacy game for him. I definitely think the odds would have been in our favor if he was healthy. And there's so many what ifs. I'm a big what if guy, but now that I'm kind of put in that situation, I don't know if I want to use what ifs. I just think the Bucks were the better team, sadly to say. Giannis killed us, and I was stupid. I was like, let's let Giannis do whatever he wants out there and stop everybody else, which in all fairness they kind of did. But Giannis is he again, I said this after Game 5, I think I said this after Game 4, he showed why he's a two-time MVP. He just won finals MVP, if you guys didn't see that. And he's, how old is he? 20 something? And
26.
Yeah, he's 26 years old, and he's a two-time MVP. I don't know how many All-Stars, and an NBA champion, a finals MVP. This dude's a future Hall of Famer, and he's only 26. So it's pretty incredible. And, I kind of want to go back to the point that Romp brought up, is that I don't know if it's just bad luck or the circumstances or whatever the case may be, but the Phoenix Suns are going to be back next year, guys. It was amazing that we did get this far. It sucks that we lost. It would have been incredible to be one of those teams that is bad for 10 years and then makes the finals and wins, but I think this is going to be really good down the road, and I think that James Jones, our general manager, is going to make adjustments, and we might see a few roster changes here and there, or maybe he'll run it back. I was talking to a friend today, and we basically were just saying, let's focus on the priorities if we lose. Let's bring back, Ayton and Bridges, et cetera, and then figure out the rest later. So I'm just trying to be super optimistic, guys. That's all I got to say. Let's look at some stats here. This finals has been weird. And by that, I mean, we saw in Game 5 that the Suns were the first team in NBA Finals history to shoot 55% and still lose. Tonight, the Bucks shot 45%. The Suns shot 44%. The three-point shot was not even a factor. Both teams hit 6 threes each. 25 free throws for the Bucks. just crazy numbers all around. The Bucks killed us on the rebounding game. You could maybe factor that the Suns lost the series because they're a bad rebounding team. That's a small factor in my opinion. It was just a strange NBA Finals, but I think the fact that it went to 6 games was great. I don't really care much about ratings and all that, but I really hope the ratings are up. So, I don't know. I just wanted to read some of those notes there and just some of the stats. I mean, the Suns had 21 fouls, but the Bucks had 19 turnovers. Bucks had 50 points in the paint. Suns had 44. So you guys got any thoughts on that?
I mean, I'll just say, like, in terms of the series, coming in, like, I think game 2 was relatively close, but like the last 3 games were probably the closest and most entertaining, like all series long. I was surprised that the Bucks like controlled all those, because personally I thought like if it was going to come down to the wire, like I expect the Suns to, you know, get it done. And they've just struck me as a team that would more likely be the one that comes out on top in those situations than the Bucks going in. But I didn't expect like, you know, Milwaukee to take the last 3 in the way they did. You know, if game 3 was a blowout, so it's like, okay, they just had the better night. But like game 4, 5, and 6 being so close, and the fact that they actually won all those games, that's probably like the most surprising part like of the series for me.
And I said this after game 5 was the last time the Suns like lost 3 in a row was like January 27th. And I don't think they would lost 4 in a row all season. So I agree with you. Romp, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's pretty. I just think CP3 just wasn't himself. I think it's a confidence
but
issue.
He still
like,
had a good game, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that's what's crazy.
His stats were good, but
he had
situation.
A good game, but sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You keep going.
I was just saying that like he had a good game, but he didn't. Obviously, game 4 was really bad for him, and he was just not himself at all. Game 5 and 6, like he didn't play bad, but I never felt like he like asserted himself in either of those games, especially in game 5. Like, yeah, you can look at the box score and say like, you know, Chris Paul played pretty well, but on the other end of things, like he got outplayed in the point guard matchup with Drew Holiday in game 5. I know tonight Holiday was, you know, he sucked, but I don't know. It just didn't really feel like Chris Paul in spurts. Like he was doing stuff, but it just didn't seem like a consistent thing. Like
that's what I was saying. I was like, every time the Suns would go on a run, it just didn't seem like it mattered.
Yeah.
So he obviously got a confidence thing going on with the. I mean, in the biggest moments in his career, he kind of always comes up short, and that's kind of a fact. And I think it's just a confidence issue because he did not look like himself for the past 3 games. Like you could tell he was flustered in his head and he was overthinking it. He was not taking shots that he usually takes. And as a player myself, I know that feeling of just like your confidence isn't there. And that's what happens when you just think too much, you overpass when you have a wide open shot. So I think that kind of came into effect with CP3. Also, his wrist injury, I think, was
it's like a hand or a wrist injury.
I don't know. Someone like CP3, who has probably the best handles on the planet besides Kyrie Irving, for him to be fumbling and bumbling like he was, he's got to have some wrist issues.
It's been the past few games.
Yeah. And all throughout the playoffs every now and again.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the other thing is, like, being a player of CP3's caliber, most of those guys are going to say they're good. I mean, like, you saw, like, Kawhi after he got hurt and they interviewed him and he's like, oh, I'm good. And then we didn't see him the rest of the season, and now he's getting surgery and he's going to be out 9 months. But, like, a guy like CP3, he's probably going to underplay his injury a little bit just so he can say, like, I'm good, you know, I'm feeling fine, I'm good to play. But even going back to, like, the first part of the playoffs with the shoulder and, like, how that affected him, like, we don't know how bad that was either. Like, and maybe his wrist and his shoulder, like, both combined. And I don't know, like, that could have also been a factor. We might find out more about that, like, soon if there was anything, but I don't know.
Yeah, because we didn't even know about the hand or the wrist thing until, you know, infamous Rachel Nichols was interviewing him. And I think he blurted that out of excitement, and so you're right. We will see. Hopefully Chris Paul's okay, but I do believe that the Suns are going to come back bigger, stronger, healthier. I'm not pointing this at the loss, but Dario Saric went out with that MRI or whatever injury that he had, and Torrey Craig had that injury, and obviously Chris Paul was hurt. Maybe if he didn't have the hand injury, because I don't think the shoulder thing was an issue for a while. He seemed like he was good, but you might be right. Maybe it was sort of bugging him, and he was downplaying his injuries. And I'm not saying that the Suns lost because of Chris Paul being injured, but clearly it was a factor. And maybe this is what people meant about experience, because clearly we saw that the Suns were shook, including Chris Paul. And maybe it was the Game 5 loss. I don't know. DeAndre Ayton was terrible tonight.
Well, he turned into a regular season Ayton.
He did.
The past couple games.
So
I saw someone tweet that too.
In all fairness, though, he had a few good defensive plays here and there, but they went to him way too much. He was terrible, and here's my Ayton rant.
Okay.
Here we go. Full screen.
I'll just go solo on that. No, I'm just kidding. You know what? It wasn't even just tonight. Ayton was kind of bad, like most of the series. And sure, maybe defensively he did a lot of great things, but
you know what? What I'll say is that the fact of it's really funny because I saw a lot of people comparing him to like David Robinson throughout most of the playoffs, and the way that he just like dominated, and their skill set and their play style so similar. Obviously, like their dominant hand's different, but I think it's just weird how he got that comparison, and David Robinson, a guy that notoriously never really had a great finals performance, was obviously a great player in the regular season, an MVP.
Yeah, always won an MVP once, surprisingly.
Yeah, and led the league in scoring, I believe, one year. Obviously, in the playoffs, like in the conference, in his own like interconference playoff series, I think he pretty much dominated just about everyone except Hakeem. So, and then like gets to the finals, and he didn't really show up. And that's what I kind of thought, like from Ayton, outside of game 1 where he had like almost a 20-20 game, like it just seemed a lot like that to me. And It's like that similarity like was kind of glaring.
Romp, defend your boy. Defend your boy Ayton.
I'm not really his boy, but I think he never really faced the rim protection in the playoffs like Brook Lopez and Giannis. Brook Lopez is really underrated in my opinion, because first off, on offense, he just stays in the corner, allows Giannis to operate. Plus on defense, he's really good. Now, sometimes he gets exposed, but being that size, you're going to get exposed in the pick and roll in the NBA. But the first round matchup for the Suns was the Lakers. Anthony Davis, great defender, but he was injured half the series. Number 2, Jokic, not a good defender, not a good rim protector. And then they played the Clippers, and the Clippers went small, and Ayton ate them alive. And he went up against Giannis, one of the best off-ball defenders in the league, one of the best rim protectors, probably the best off-ball defender in the league. So I think that's why Ayton really struggled, because he faced an elite defense. Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton's not bad. Like PJ Tucker.
And the Bucks were already known for their defense before the playoffs even started. And I like what Joshua said, who said anyone blaming CP3, just think of trying to get a shot off on Holiday at Devin Booker. He is probably one of the greatest defenders of this generation. That's why the Suns were struggling. He's not wrong. Maybe he's not wrong. Let's be real. And I said this in game 4. I definitely said it in game 3 and really game 5. I said that even though Booker had 40 or whatever, Booker got locked down. Let's be real. And I remember in game 5, Drew Holiday stripped Booker twice. And the first time was he ran up court and drained a 3. And the second time was that famous viral Giannis dunk, So let's be real. Their defense was great. And that's why people say defense wins championships. And going back to DeAndre Ayton real quick, Let's be real. Throughout the Western Conference Finals, he was the quote Finals MVP. He was great, and he proved us all wrong. Maybe the series would have been different if he was that effective, because we saw games where he had like 17 boards and 10 points or whatever, and the big men can't do it all. This isn't like Kareem or Wilt or Shaq. I'm just saying, just throwing some names out there, but he's 22 years old. He's only going to get better. But in this game in particular, I thought that they went to him way too much. He was missing everything. You were talking about Brook Lopez. First off, Brook Lopez is a much more confident shooter than DeAndre Ayton, and that comes with experience. But that one dunk that he had, I remember I tweeted, I was like, hey, DeAndre Ayton, did you see what Brook Lopez just did there? Like, I'm like, if you had that like flair and finesse, and you know what I mean? Like, that stuff Ayton's got to work on,
Dude, Lopez is a freak.
Like, I couldn't believe Brook Lopez did that.
He's huge.
Super Mario.
I was just gonna say, like, and then the next possession after, like, he does that little Euro step and then palm the ball.
Yeah,
and he, like, flung in the air. I'm
like all-time leading scorer.
That's why you guys are on here, to help me remember these things, because
that's all-time leading scorer, Sons Geek.
Well, like,
I love
people gave all these comparisons, like to Chris Middleton, like looking like prime MJ at his best. But like I saw some of that in Brook Lopez today, like on that Euro step, the hang time, the little dunk. Like, it just all looked so similar.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Super Mario, but you want to know what I don't understand? Maybe just this season, maybe this is just recency bias, is that at halftime the score was 47-42. The Suns were shooting 42% at halftime. The Bucks had 10 turnovers. Suns were actually doing okay they kind of had a little bit of turnovers, but Booker and Ayton were 4 for 18 at halftime. Drew Holiday was 1 for 11. Middleton was 3 for 8. I don't understand basketball. I'm serious. You guys get what I'm going with, like, saying about that? Basketball is weird. This final series was weird. This whole playoff series was weird. We saw so many great offensive performances, and I'll go back to this again. The Suns are the first team to lose a finals game shooting 55% or better. I don't know.
Well, I think, like, you mentioned how, like, just the playoffs in general were weird.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I feel like a lot of the stuff you saw in this playoffs could even transfer over to next year. And that's why, like, when you said the Suns are going to be back, I mean, there's a good chance. I mean, the Jazz, they kind of had a big flop. Like, they're probably going to have some changes. They're already talking about they might trade Bogdanovich or Joe Ingles. Like, they're looking at trades for that.
I'll take Bogdanovich.
I'll take Bogdanovich to the Sixers for Ben.
Send him to the Sixers, man.
Or even, like, the Nuggets, they're not going to have Jamal Murray most of the year, all next year. Kawhi, same thing. Like, Portland, like, they might lose Dame. Like, he might want out. The Warriors, I think they're banking a lot on Klay Thompson's return off, like, 2 key injuries. So, like, I feel like that leaves like the Lakers and the Mavericks. And the Lakers, they got a lot of changes to make outside their duo. And then the Mavericks, we don't know what's going to happen there either. So I don't know. I think if the Suns, like, run it back with this crew, I mean, they very well could get back. It's just, I don't know. I mean, we'll see, because, I mean, anything could happen, of course. But, yeah.
You know what they should do? Can I just be a hot take king here? Oh, crap. I kind of lost it.
Well,
man. Let me rethink of it. Okay.
Go ahead and cut me off whenever you want. But I was going to say this. You guys know me in Super Mario. You definitely know this. I'm an old school NBA fan. And what I loved about this season, even last year, is that the NBA changes so fast. You know what I mean? Like, again, 2 years ago, the Suns were 19-win team. They hadn't been in the playoffs in years, and they were in the lottery every year. And all of a sudden, they're in the NBA Finals. And they were so close to making the playoffs last year, with the whole bubble stuff. And you were just talking about, like, the Warriors, who, what's that? Now it's been 2 years that they haven't made it. The Spurs haven't made it in 2 years. So I guess my little rant here is that the NBA changes so fast. Suns fans should be hopeful, and the future is bright in Phoenix, in my opinion. And again, I don't want to be James Jones right now. I don't want to be the guy that has to make all these decisions to sign players I mean, I honestly think the Suns are going to have to literally spend billions of dollars to sign these guys. But my point being is that Phoenix Suns are going to be good for years to come, and the NBA is going to change. I can't wait for the draft. I can't wait for the offseason. It's going to be fucking nuts.
I'll be James Jones.
You want to be James Jones?
So CP3 is a free agent, right?
I think we're going to restructure his contract. I think maybe on paper he's a free agent, but he's not a free agent. Let's be real.
All right, so let's just say I would let him go. That's an unpopular opinion, but I would let him go. And I would sign Kyle Lowry. That's even bolder.
Rump, you're talking crazy.
I would sign. I think Kyle Lowry's better than CP3. I think people underrate him. I think he's more clutch than CP3. And then you put Campaign and CP3 as the backcourt, kind of like a Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry little. You know what I'm saying? That would be fun. That's what I would do if I was a DM. But no one would agree with that.
You're just nuts.
Rump.
Whoa,
we are not here if it's Chris Paul.
I know, but Kyle Lowry, man, he's underrated.
Well, because
to all the Chris Paul haters out there, we are not here if it's for.
I'm not blaming Chris Paul. I'm just saying I don't know if you want CP3. I mean, he obviously has something going on with this pressure situation because he hasn't got it done. He could have got it done this year. Let's be real. Like, let's not beat around the bush. He choked. And that's all. That's fine. At least he tried at Ben Simmons. He didn't just not shoot a shot at Ben Simmons.
Happy birthday,
Ben
Simmons.
He tried and he failed.
We love it.
I mean, Rom, like when you're talking about Lowry, though, like, do you not remember how many flameouts he had as well before Kawhi got there in that season? And he even showed it in some spurts last year. Like when they played the Celtics. He wasn't
trying last year. You can't.
He wasn't trying, though. But will he try for the Suns? He already has a ring.
Try because they actually are in contention. Last year, the Raptors were like
the Raptors had the second best record in the league. The Suns had the second best record in the league this year.
I'm talking about this year. Oh, you're talking about?
No, you're saying like add Lowry to the Suns and get rid of Chris Paul, right?
Yes, I am.
This is a team that
I think Lowry has more left than CP3. That's why I think it is.
Lowry's like what, 35? He wasn't even an All-Star this year.
He basically got a year off though because the Raptors were shitty.
Romp. I disagree with you on this one.
And the other thing,
you could disagree. I mean,
I got a lot of love for your Romp.
This is what people said when I picked the Bucks. Everyone was in the comments section being, "Oh, they're gonna lose to the Heat." So.
Well, you got to realize this, too. Like, if you add a guy like Kyle Lowry and then you get rid of a guy like Chris Paul, it's going to have to change something, like, with the whole scheme of, like, the offense as well. And, like, maybe that has a different effect on the team. So, I don't know. Like, I would see no point in getting rid of – like, if they want to get rid of Chris Paul, like, that's kind of a bold decision in itself. But it's like maybe you build around the younger guys and just – go young, so then you have like that core going on. But I wouldn't get rid of Chris Paul to add a guy that's like around the same timeline as him. That is arguably worse. I mean, you might think he's better. I think Chris Paul is better at this point right now. So yeah, I
do gotta agree with David here, and David's been one of the MVPs throughout the entire live streams and playoffs and all that. And he said there's a reason CP3 came here. He wanted to. I totally agree with that. And a big reason he came here was Devin Booker. I wonder if Booker's still going to go to the Olympics. I think he did opt in, but I wonder if he can like change his mind, especially with everything going on with Team USA.
Need him. They
definitely need him.
Well, that was another thing I saw people saying too, like when they were talking about like, oh, the Bucks are going to do it today because don't the Olympics like officially start on Thursday? Like that's the first game. So they probably were like, all right, let's shift our focus to the Olympics now. I don't know. Like,
wait, well, Joshua's comment.
Joshua, this new one right here. I see where you're coming. Is this one right here?
Yeah.
I see where you're coming from, but Ayton won't play the same with Lowry's passing to him. He flourished with CP3. And they flourished.
Did he flourish during the season, though?
What?
Wasn't like the whole season for Suns fans like, oh, is Aiden good? Is Aiden like?
Well, I know straight up from DeAndre Ayton himself. He quoted.
Oh yeah, he did
himself saying that the best thing that's happened in his career was playing with CP3.
Thank you, Super Mario.
So what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say the one thing I learned about the Suns this postseason, I think CP3's leadership was great. CP3 is great, don't get me wrong, but I think it's a tad bit overrated because when he was out, Campaign stepped up, D-Book stepped up, and in the finals, D-Book did his thing besides this game. And I'm just saying, like, the Suns are a good team even without Chris Paul. And I think it's a harder decision than people are making it out to be. Like, people are like, oh, just bring back CP3. But that's his age. He's only going to digress. So it's like, you got to really think. And is it best for the Suns organization? That's my point. I'm not saying I'm right, but I think it's deeper than what people are saying. You don't just bring him back. You got to think about it and see your other options. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, I agree with you on that. And, I mean, I just don't see the point in bringing in another guy on his timeline, and it would change, like, the whole flow of the offense as well. Because, like, there's probably some parts of the game where Kyle Lowry could benefit than Chris Paul. But there's, like, looking at what Chris Paul does to perfection, especially with DeAndre Ayton and, like, what he creates for guys like Devin Booker and Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson and stuff. Like, I feel like they learned a lot from him. And then having another mentor like Kyle Lowry, who, by the way, like, he's had his own moments where, like I said, he's flamed out too. So, like, if the pressure could very well get to him. Do you remember the year they won in his first playoff game that year? He scored 0 against DJ Augustine.
Yeah, but he's like, doesn't he have like crazy clutch stats? Like, I always see the graphics.
I don't think he is.
I think you're sleeping on Kyle Lowry.
I'm not sleeping on Kyle Lowry. I think Kyle Lowry is still like probably a top 10 point guard in the league.
Mm-hmm. Kyle Lowry might be one of the most overlooked point guards in league history.
But he's just not Chris Paul. And I don't think there's ever been a point in time where he's been better than Chris Paul personally. Maybe 2019, that season specifically, because Chris Paul, like, people were saying he's washed because of the injury. And, like, I think that whole thing with him and Harden, like, the chemistry was messed up that year. And then obviously Lowry won a title. But other than that, like,
that Chris Paul's just had a lot of bad luck throughout his career, bad circumstances, you know? Is that what you're going to say, Super Mario?
Well, there's also that. I mean, it's a lot like Steve Nash. I'd say, like, both Phoenix Suns point guards. Like, they've had their fair share of, like, Chris Paul's had moments like remember when they played the Jazz, like, a few years ago with his last year with the Clippers, and they lost to, like, Gordon Hayward and those guys. Like, they should have won that series. But then there's other moments like, I think 2015, where Chris Paul wasn't even bad, and they blew a 3-1 lead. And part of that might be from, like, you know, Romp's favorite coach, Doc Rivers.
Trash.
Too soon, man.
No, you know what happened to the Suns? Doc Rivers texted Monty Williams.
I saw that.
Dude, when I saw that, I was like, oh, man.
Hey, let's be fair. Doc Rivers has won a championship.
Oh, he's not. He's an idiot, man.
Doc Rivers
won a championship with one of the best teams of all time. My freaking grandma could have coached that team to success. Like,
Doc Rivers has ruined stuff since he didn't land Tim Duncan in Orlando because he wouldn't let his family fly on the plane. Then that could have changed everything, you know?
You know what, guys?
Super Mario.
I know this is a change of subject here, but I trust James Jones. That's all I want to say.
That is true. That is true.
I trust James Jones. And I think if you're just like a casual basketball fan, but you know who James Jones is, you should trust him too. Because, again, look what he's done in 2 years. Romp, what were you going to say?
I was going to say to Super Mario, a Drew Holiday hater as him.
I'm not a Drew Holiday hater.
I'm playing. I'm not around. But he had the highest plus minus of the playoffs. So I just want to shout out Drew Holiday.
Well, I will say about Holiday, I mean, I still don't think he was perfect, obviously.
Yeah, he wasn't.
I mean, like today, what was he, like 4 for 19 shooting today? And he had another game where he shot like 4 for 20. Like, You know, like
It's his
Yeah, yeah.
defense, man. I think he was just focused on locking down Booker.
I understand his defense. Sometimes, obviously, he gambles a little like Pat Beverly, but his defense, I think, was definitely there for a majority of the playoffs. His offense is a little bit sketch. I just think personally, like, he's definitely an improvement from like Eric Bledsoe, who they had in the past few years. Like
He was
that,
probably
I'm not
kicking himself
disputing.
that he was on neither one of these teams.
But I also think a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, who wasn't even bad in 2019 when he came back from his injury, coming off the bench, limited minutes, had to work his way back up, and he played pretty well against the Raptors that year. And then, like, obviously they didn't bring him back. They chose Bledsoe over him. That just didn't make sense to me, and they still could have even maybe traded Bledsoe for Drew Holiday and had both of them. So that would have made him, like, even better. But no, like, I don't hate Drew. I literally have a Pelicans Drew Holiday jersey from, like, I think 5-6 years ago or something. So I don't want to, like, start just thinking I'm a hater.
But now that I think about it, I think one of the Suns' issues, they need more players who can get to the rim, in my opinion. Does that make sense?
A whole video about that.
Because, like, the only person who can get to the rim consistently is Devin Booker. And that's really not his best skill, I guess. Like, he does it every once in a while, you know, but he doesn't rely on it. It's
campaign too.
Yeah, campaign too. I forgot about him.
Honorable mention Abdel Nader.
Yeah, Nader. Should have been Nader.
There was a phase where the Suns were not getting to the free throw line, and the only player that was getting to the free throw line was Abdel Nader. Sorry.
Yeah, and
Abdel Nader fanboy here.
It's kind of trash that you can't rely on your future center to get to the foul line, but I mean, we could talk about that another day.
Can I just give another shout out to Frank Kaminsky and how great he was tonight?
He was
but he was great. Now, Suns fans are going to criticize it down the road that we were playing Frank Kaminsky in Game 6 of the NBA Finals. But in just 11 short minutes, he had 6 points, a clutch rebound. And I'm serious. There was like one rebound that he got, and he kicked it out to Jay Crowder for the 3, and Crowder drained it. I don't know if Frank Kaminsky is going to be back next year, but I do know the Suns were 11-2 with him this season as a starter. Frank Kaminsky was. And I just kind of want to read this comment here. You guys forgot how far we came. Proud of our Suns, Western Conference champions for the first time in years. And by the way, Suns fans, probably go to NBA.com or something like that and buy all the finals merch you can. I'm probably going to do the same too. Just because, yeah, you know, it was our first time in years, and I want to celebrate that fact. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with all that, but I just had to rant. And
I was just gonna add, like, to the Kaminsky point, like, I'm pretty sure that rebound, like, wasn't there like 3 or 4 guys like down low in the paint, and like I think even Middleton, I think, had a hand on it. And he just like ripped it out, and I mean, yeah, that was huge.
The Suns need to be a better rebounding team next season, because we weren't even that good last year. Before all of this, we were like a middle of the pack rebounding team. This year, probably even worse. And in the finals, it showed. I'm not saying we lost the finals because of our rebounding. That's ridiculous. But you got to think, if we were a better rebounding team, at DeAndre Ayton, maybe we'd be having a different conversation.
Dude, he's an unreal rebounder. Come on, man.
I know. He had 17 rebounds in one of his worst finals games. But Ayton can do that in his sleep. But you guys get my point. Jay Crowder's got to be a better rebounder. We just need better rebounders.
Size,
where you at, Jalen Smith?
Size. Their size was just disrupted you guys. I think that disrupted Chris Paul too. Their size was unbelievable.
Frank played with more energy than Ayton tonight, says Shot Chucker. Hey, you know what? I'm actually glad he brought that up. It was just the Suns' energy in general. I didn't see no energy. And I don't know what was going on with what they call the 0.5 offense for the Suns and the ball movement. I haven't seen that in like a few games.
Because they look scared, man. Everyone looks scared tonight.
Maybe it was the Bucks suffocating defense, but like I didn't see. There was maybe one play in Game 5 where the ball zipped around. I didn't see that much during the finals, and that could have been a big reason we lost. And I'm serious. So
You know who the Suns need to pick up? I think they need to get their hands on Ed Davis because he's like one of the better rebounding bigs. Ed Davis.
Oh yeah, Jazz player.
He's one of the best rebounding bigs off the bench in the league. He played for Minnesota this year. I don't know if he's a free agent or not.
Didn't he play for Portland too?
Played for the Nets at one point.
Played for Portland, the Nets, the Grizzlies, Utah, like you said. So like, I think they should get him and make him like a backup to Ayton. So like, if they're in like, he's not a bad defender either. So like, if Ayton gets in foul trouble, like
I don't really know much about him besides that.
He could do a lot of the stuff. Like, he's not going to be the inside scoring presence of Ayton, but he could do like serve as a defensive presence. He could definitely crash the glass. I think it could help. I don't know.
I kind of wanted to go to this topic anyway, so I'm glad that Joshua brought it up. He said, honestly, Giannis just willed his team to victory. The Suns stuck around all game, which is true. Despite all the criticisms that I've been throwing at them, they really did. I mean, we didn't lose by much. They could not stop him, and even when they did, he hit every free throw. And I do want to talk about Giannis for a moment. Obviously, he had 50 points, which, by the way, he did that in 42 minutes. 16 for 25 from the field, 17 free throws, which, again, that's where I get it. If Suns fans are pissed off about the officiating, whatever. Giannis is going to get to the line regardless. But beyond that, 14 rebounds, 5 blocks. Did have 6 turnovers, but those 5 blocks were pretty damn impressive. And those blocks in particular were momentum builders. And again, I've said this all finals long. Giannis kept showing me personally why he was a 2-time MVP. And I'm big on MVPs, Super Mario Hoops. We've had this talk before. That's why I'm a fan of like Russell Westbrook and just guys that have won MVPs throughout their career. And I'm a big believer in like, if you have an MVP on your team, you're going to be just a little bit better, which is crazy why Chris Paul's never won an MVP. Maybe I asked you guys this at the start of the show, but I'll start with you, Super Mario Hoops. What did you see through Giannis throughout the entire finals and really the playoffs?
I mean, in the entire playoffs, I think early on, like, he had his moments where he was a little up and down. Of course, it didn't really matter, like, the way they were playing the Heat and the way, like, some of those guys,
Chris
like Butler.
carried him when Giannis struggled.
Yeah, and, like, so early on, it didn't really have too much of an effect. I thought he was great ever since, like, the Nets series, and he was great in these finals. Like, I mean, he was in a class with only Shaq for guys that had, like, 40 and 10 for 3 games in a final series. I think like I said earlier, like most points in a closeout win in the finals since like Jordan or something in 98. And like I'm looking at like some of those guys like Michael Jordan, Shaq, Jerry West, like are probably some of the best finals performers of all time, like I'd say. And then like Giannis in this series was probably like just he's in that class like with those guys. Obviously he's only played in one final, so it's like not as huge of a sample size, but I'm sure that there'll be more before he's done. So, I mean, yeah, I thought that he played pretty well and put himself like up there with the all-time greats.
Sorry, I'm hearing a cat outside my window and my dogs are barking. There's a lot going on here. Romp, you're an Eastern Conference guy. Well, what did you see from Giannis, especially throughout the finals?
I thought he was unreal. First 2 games, I thought he was a little too perimeter friendly for my liking. I love when he plays off ball. Now, in this game, he could play point guard all he wants because he was hitting everything.
And he hit a 3-pointer in this.
But I think the Chris Middleton pick and roll, man, that's when he really gets going. And once he does that, it kind of just feeds off and everything else comes out. But Giannis played wonderful, and he's going to be up there with, he's 26 years old. He already has 2 MVPs, whatever, finals MVP now. But I think we got to give Chris Middleton and all the Bucks others credit because you don't just win a championship with one player. I mean, we saw that last year with Giannis, same thing. Eric Bledsoe wasn't good enough. They went to get Drew Holiday, a little upgrade. Giannis did most of the work, but also Chris Middleton backed them up and Drew Holiday backed them up last game. So you got to give the whole team credit. It's just not a one-man thing in the NBA.
Thank you for bringing that up. Again, I'll say this. I think Mike Budenholzer saved his career. At least.
Oh, yeah, him too. I got to give him props too. He proved me wrong too.
Yeah, Mike Budenholzer made the adjustments. I don't know if I guess you could say he outcoached Monty, but still, he saved his job. Let's be real. But I'm glad you brought up the Bucks as a team. First off, huge shout out to one of my all-time favorite Phoenix Suns ever, PJ Tucker. The dude played years with the Suns and was a fan favorite for what you saw as a Bucks player, hitting corner threes, playing great defense. I mean, he guarded Booker like all finals long. Let's be real. By the way, if Booker would have hit that three when he like crossed him over and Tucker fell, that would have been one of the greatest finals moments of all time.
I said when that happened, I said that was probably the second nastiest crossover like the whole playoffs. The only one I can think of was better was like Luka did like a step back, and then I think Batum was guarding him, and he literally like went down, grabbed his ankle. I don't know if you guys remember that, and he like grabbed his ankle. He was behind the baseline. I'm like, dude, that guy might have just like tore his Achilles or something. I don't know what happened. Like his bones look brittle anyway, so I was like worried for the dude. But yeah, I was worried for PJ Tucker there.
But again, I mean, PJ, that's a guy that I've been actually lucky to meet, believe it or not. I've got a photo with him. He's a super nice guy. He was great to his fans in Phoenix. Obviously, we've talked about Giannis, but Chris Middleton, I said this before. I was like, that's a dude who, two-time All-Star. I don't know how his like whole career has been up to this point, but I think throughout the playoffs, he's proved me wrong because, he helped win that Atlanta Hawks series. Let's be real. He was great in the finals. And, Brook Lopez, long-term, Brooklyn Nets player. I think you said he's their all-time leading scorer, something like that. Drew Holiday, Romp, that's your boy, former Sixer.
Process.
Pat Connaughton was amazing in these NBA finals, and he has a great story, which I think you might have made a video about him, right, Romp?
Yeah, he went to Notre Dame.
But I'm kind of glad you brought up the Bucks too, because I was kind of criticized. I don't know if I was criticizing the Suns, but I was like, the Suns got players on their bench that they could be playing. We need a spark. But I'm looking at the bench, the Bucks bench, and I'm seeing names that I've never heard of before besides Sam Merle. Like, no wonder they only played like 8 players, and that doesn't even include
Bobby Portis too.
Yeah, Bobby Portis
and another guy. Giannis's brother. He was out with like safety protocols since game 5, right? So
and Dante DiVincenzo was out too.
Right.
You guys
it's a lot like I think it's a lot like the Raptors when they won 2 years ago, in the sense where it's like Giannis was, he had that hyperextended knee that he was playing on. Like, I believe Kawhi's hamstring was like bad during those finals as well, and he was still playing on it. And then like both of them were so dominant. Like the supporting cast showed up, like Middleton, Drew Holiday, like all those guys. And then obviously like it was just like momentum type of championship. Like it like meant so much to each city. You saw like there was like, including inside the arena and outside, there was almost like 100,000 people there. So like that, I'm pretty sure
fans, man. Props.
I'm pretty sure the population of Milwaukee is like a little over that or something, or like 140,000. I don't know. Like so that's like almost everyone in the city is. So that's just like wild.
Yeah, I just wanted to give credit where credit is due, because I just feel, Giannis is. The Bucks won the championship. That's all I gotta say. It's still hit. Like as this live stream continues, it's hitting me more and more. Maybe I'll react differently tomorrow. I'm gonna have a lot of feelings tomorrow about it, but the Bucks are champions. Former Phoenix Sun PJ Tucker is a champion. Former Sixer Romp is Drew Holiday is a champion, and Mike Budenholzer, man.
Don't worry, we've all been hit already. It's gonna sting.
I love Drew Holiday.
Stung for Romp. I know I was mad when my Bulls missed the playoffs.
I might make like a second reaction video, because I literally filmed like a 2-minute reaction video on my phone before we went live.
Cry on camera, man.
I
won't judge
wanted
you.
to. I was close. There was a point where I was watching the game with my parents where I was just quiet and I almost let the tears start flowing, but I don't know.
I don't know if you guys know the. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say
we're an hour in. This live stream has been a freestyle, to be honest with you guys, and you guys have saved me on this, and I thank you guys. And I don't know. I don't even know what my own name is.
I was just gonna say, like, I don't know if you guys saw the stat with PJ Tucker, how he beat in every round a starter on the 2018 Rockets.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I saw that.
That's pretty crazy. Like Trevor Ariza, then Harden, then Capella, then Chris Paul. Like that's like, I don't know, that's just something pretty cool in my opinion.
By the way,
I think it's
Trevor
fixed.
Ariza, you could probably argue
Rig.
that the
It's
Suns
fixed for PJ Tucker.
wouldn't have Chris Paul.
Well, I know, like, I believe Steph beat every other member on the like All NBA first team in 2015, so it was kind of like that type of feel.
I think something's fishy's going on here. I think the NBA scripted like WWE.
It was the Band-Aid ring.
This is a good storyline, you know. Bucks haven't won in
They tried to patch up
75
the
years.
conspiracy over it.
Where are you at, Mike Korzemba? Make your video already.
You know, Bucks haven't won. I don't know, man. Got
There's
Boston.
some conspiracies I believe in. I was very ignorant and didn't believe that the draft was rigged, or the draft lottery, I should say. Not the draft, but the draft lottery. I didn't believe in that for years. And then the Phoenix Suns started to suck. And then the Phoenix Suns would get like the 4th pick after being a terrible team. And then they got the 6th pick. Then I knew that the draft was definitely rigged. I mean, the Pelicans got Zion Williamson. What?
I knew it was rigged when we got D Rose with like a 1% chance, and there was the hometown kid and everything like that.
Yeah,
I'll even admit it.
So I'm not believing in like every NBA conspiracy, although there is a lot of good ones. You know, the whole obviously Chris Paul and Scott Foster thing, and tons of other ones that I'm totally forgetting about. But I don't know. I'm at a loss. It was an incredible season, guys. It's that simple. And I agree with this comment here. I'm happy the world was able to see how awesome Devin Booker was in those playoffs.
2 40-point performances.
Mm-hmm.
You have to fail to succeed in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And this, you know, like you said, this could be the Suns' failure for next year.
What I think is going to happen actually is the NBA is going to veto this finals, and they're going to say the Lakers won it. I just have that feeling, you know, it's going to be a breaking story, and we're going to see documentaries on it. I don't know. I just get that feeling, you know. So maybe it's a good thing the Suns didn't win, because the NBA would have vetoed it. Aliens fixed the 2021 finals.
Hopefully the Sixers are the storyline for next season.
I know this. I'm going to take a couple days to process this all, and then I'm going to do like 7-something days of draft homework, and then maybe you'll see a draft video on my channel. But I don't think it really matters who we drafted the 29th
Jeremiah
pick.
Robinson Earl.
Yeah, sure. I don't know who that is, but he's going to be a great fit next year.
Or Charles Bassey for you.
Romp, you better watch out for former 76er Nikola Vucevic. He's coming to play next year.
Oh, yeah, he's a Sixer too. Everyone's a freaking Sixer, man.
He was on the Mickey Mouse team, the Mickey Mouse 8 seed team.
Oh, yeah, that team was awesome.
Yeah, I think I don't remember that year that well.
Yeah, me either.
To put you both on the spot here.
Oh, no.
Off the top of your head, I'm not saying you have to break down the entire Suns offseason, because we don't even know what the NBA offseason is going to look like. But I'm going to put you guys on the spot here. If the Suns have to make one small move or big move, besides Chris Paul romp, what do you think the Suns need to do in the offseason to come back to the finals? Which is crazy. I can't believe I just said the Suns have a chance to go back to the finals. Romp.
Oh, me first?
Yeah.
Nah, Super Mario got it first.
This is pressure time.
I feel like I already said like my move. I mean, I just get like a guy that you can put in behind Ayton that can play in a similar style to him. You know, like the backup bigs that they had, like Kaminsky and Saric when he was playing, like they don't play anything like how Aiden is. So it's like when he comes out, it completely changes the style of play. And I think it kind of favored a team like the Bucks. I think it even favored like the Clippers, like when you guys were playing them. So I don't know, like you got to get, and maybe that's Ed Davis or maybe that's like some other guy, maybe like, I don't know, Nerlens Noel potentially. I think he's a free agent. Is that what it was?
I was about to say Nerlens Noel, but you're good.
I thought he was a free agent. I'm sorry, but you can talk about what Nerlens Noel would add to the Suns if you want.
Someone said Daniel Tice. It's not a bad backup center option.
Played great for the Celtics.
They can take him, honestly. He wasn't great for us.
Phoenix Suns 2022 NBA champions. Book it.
But my bold stance is I would not re-sign CP3. That's just, you could kill me, but that's my opinion.
You're never allowed back on this channel, Rom. You are banned from this channel for saying that.
I think CP3. Oh, sorry, my bad.
And also, whoever signs Kyle Lowry, that's who I'm picking to win a championship.
Chicago Bulls.
Well, never mind. If that happens, no.
That's a shame.
Suns Geek, now you have to answer the question.
We need better rebounders, and we need a backup center for real. And this is kind of where I think Andre Drummond was like a pipe dream. I remember making a video about it. Actually did pretty well in terms of views and stuff. But
you don't want Drummond. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Now that I say that, you guys get my point. Like we needed a backup center, and it showed. And we just, I'm being put on the spot here, but
he's starting on the Guangdong Tigers next year. Come on.
Maybe we need a backup point guard. Cameron Payne, I love you, but like, think about it. I mean, he wasn't that good in the finals. He kind of cooled down after the Lakers series. He was great in this game. He only played 10 minutes. Probably should have played more.
All I know is this guy's available right here. Yeah, I mean, you might as well try him out.
You know what you guys should do?
He should be on a roster, though. But
you know what you guys should do? Get rid of CP3 and go Ish Smith and campaign the fastest backcourt of all time.
Former Sun, by the way, who had a great season with us, Ish Smith.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Journeyman who, is actually well respected around the league, in my opinion. But
former process Sixer.
I don't know. But
he was on every team, though.
Right.
Yeah,
except the Bulls.
He's been around.
You know what? Actually, now that I think about it, maybe this is recency bias, and the Suns were a great defensive team. Maybe we just need to get better at defense. Maybe we just need to run it back for the most part. I think we're going to have to let a couple guys go, but run it back, take care of the priorities, get better at defense.
Size.
We all know offense isn't really a problem, in my opinion. I think we should need to get better at defense because defense wins championships, clearly. I don't know. That's what's weird about this game, too, in the series is like the Suns were in it. Like, I have a stat here that was I just lost it. Here we go. Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and DeAndre Ayton at one point were a combined 5 for 19 from the field, and the Suns were up 2. Is that because of the Suns' defense, or is that because of poor Bucks shooting? I don't know. Defense wins championships, and we saw that this season. The Suns were one of the best defensive teams in the league. So,
yeah, I don't buy that. I mean, the Sixers had 2 all-defensive first-team players, so you can't really play perimeter defense anymore in the NBA because if you touch them, it's a foul. So, I think it's all.
Oh,
I think it's
so you're
more
saying that the Suns need to go old school and get like a Twin Towers effect and just dominate the interior.
I'm saying offense is more important than defense in today's NBA.
That's fair.
Because great offense also helps. The most underrated thing about defense is, in order to have a great defense, you have to have a great offense because it making a bunch of shots in a row puts pressure on the other offense to make more shots. So you have to have a good offense to have a good defense.
At Warriors.
Yeah, at Warriors.
LOL. One of my friends saying trade CP3 for Ben Simmons.
Now that dude
Happy
is a
birthday, Ben.
doofus, man. Don't ever.
I was just gonna
get
say
Ben
that.
Simmons.
I was gonna say like CP3's gonna sign with Philly, sign and trade.
Hey, bro, I'll be happy for that.
I'm not trying to
want
cut
Lowry?
this short or anything, but
I want Lowry, bro.
is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Like, you guys just want to talk about any other NBA topics? Because I mean, I can keep going. I'm just chilling at this point, you know.
I got one.
Go for it.
Right now, okay, obviously we've seen like a guy like Kawhi and what he's done. Do you think that the Giannis winning the championship and finals MVP, do you think it moves him over Kawhi all time? Because he does have multiple MVPs, but Kawhi, one more title, one more finals MVP. Kawhi is probably the more complete player offensively and takes those challenges more defensively in the playoffs, I'd say. But, I mean, Giannis just had like one of the most dominant finals ever. So what do you think?
Can I answer this one first? I would say, and I feel like Super Mario, we've kind of talked about this before in terms of like Bill Russell or Wilt Chamberlain and all that. Kawhi has been pretty damn successful, and he's not stopping. Just saying. And he did lead that Raptors team to a title, obviously. You know, he obviously had, you know, help and all that, but that showed a lot. And, you know, he had great years with the Spurs, and he's done pretty good things with the Clippers. I think maybe if the Bucks come back next year and go to the finals, maybe we can have this conversation. Does that make sense? But I do hear you. Giannis had a great NBA finals. I don't know where he ranks amongst the whole NBA finals MVP winners of the past, but this was a damn impressive game 6. I think right now I'd probably put Kawhi above Giannis. But again, I've been preaching how great Giannis has been all live stream. So Romp, what do you think?
Can you repeat the question, Super Mario?
Oh, I was saying like, well, now that the Bucks have won the championship, you look at Giannis, 2 regular season MVPs, a defensive player of the year, a champion, a finals MVP, and then Kawhi obviously has another ring, another finals MVP. I believe he has 2 defensive player of the year awards.
How many finals MVP does Kawhi have? 2?
2, and 2 titles. And he doesn't have an MVP, but I mean, obviously Kawhi, I think he takes those defensive challenges on the star players a lot more than Giannis does. And he's also like the more complete offensive player, but Giannis just put on like one of the most dominant finals ever. So in terms of an all-time ranking, do you think this final series, this whole playoff run, puts Giannis above Kawhi all time? Or do you think like not yet, or, you know, he still has some work to do?
In terms of accolades, it's like close. I would still go with Kawhi. I think Kawhi's a better player. Yeah, I think Kawhi. Well, I think Kawhi is just a better player in general.
I wanted to ask that because, like, I was looking at like my list of like players. Like, I have like a top 50 made, and I'm looking at like players, and I'm like, I feel like Giannis has already accomplished more than all these guys. And then once I got to Kawhi, I'm like, I don't know. But I don't know. I kind of agree. I think Kawhi, he's still higher all time for sure. But I mean, it's not like it would take much for Giannis to like overtake him. Like now that he's actually won a championship and a Finals MVP.
That's true. I don't know. Like, it's weird like to debate like that type of stuff because
they're still in their primes. And
yeah. Like
but
if I were to,
I love your question.
If I were to simulate the rest of Kawhi's career and Giannis's career in my head, I would probably go with Giannis. But even if Giannis had more accolades, I honestly would probably still think Kawhi's the better player. You know what I'm saying?
It's like there's situations like that where, like I'll say Pete Maravich,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll get the Suns geek over there laughing, but like he's not like one of the most highest ranked all time players, but obviously like the most skilled. Yeah, he's one of the most skilled ever. But
you want to know who should be above all these players? Romp,
Joel Embiid,
Ben Simmons. A burner account says shaking my head. The disrespect to Simmons, Romp.
Like, even after what I just saw from Giannis, I still think like probably 8 players are better than him in the NBA. Like, I don't take championships as serious as other people do, because I think a lot of luck has to go your way, and it's really hard to win a championship. Now, if I'm discussing like the best players ever, then I take into consideration championships. But if I'm just discussing like the top players in the NBA, I don't give a crap about accolades. I'm just looking at skill and how they play. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Well, I'd say like every championship is created differently. I think Jalen Rose even said that today. But like you could look at when the Warriors won with KD and Steph and Clay and Dre and like all those, like that was like a complete super team. Seemed like nobody was going to overtake them no matter what they did, like what their scheme was. They were just too talented. And then, but those titles probably wouldn't be weighed as heavily as like say Dirk when he won in 2011. So I don't know. I don't know. I see a lot of comparisons with like the 2019 and 2021 seasons, like the champions. So I don't know. That's just what I was thinking.
I just can't stop repeating the fact, and I feel like I said this last year and the year before that, that the offseason is going to be nuts. I'm serious. Like, you could argue the offseason's already started. You know, there's been tons of coaching changes. We even had a Kemba Walker trade randomly, which I didn't even know that was possible during the playoffs.
Can I give you a hot take real quick? Usually every year, like free agency, everyone's looking at. I think this year the draft is going to be more entertaining and more like chaotic than free agency. Because I feel like there's going to be like a lot of trades. Like you already hear like Colin Sexton in the rumors, the Jazz, obviously they're looking at players. So I don't know. I think that that's going to be like the bigger thing to look out for than free agency in itself.
That's fair.
Can I be honest? This might help some Suns fans like get over the loss. I've come to realize through the shittiness of the Sixers that I think low key winning is a little bit overrated, because I have a friend who's a Patriots fan and he just gets championship after championship after championship, and it's just like another Monday, and he isn't invested in his team. But now since the Sixers lost, I care way more. If they won, like I'm a Ravens fan, when they won in 2012 or whatever it was, I didn't give a damn about them for like 3 years. I was just like, oh my God. Like I didn't care because I was on the championship high. But now that the Sixers lost, like I'm invested into them and I'm complaining about them every day, pissed off about them. So low key, winning's overrated in my eyes. That's all I got to say.
I think you're just
but it feels good.
I think you're just more mad at the way you guys lost, because like if you guys would have lost to the Bucks, like yeah, it would have sucked, but I think more people, even though the Sixers was a higher seed, I feel like more people thought the Bucks would win that series.
Oh yeah,
and it's like they're at least like more compatible, like are more formidable of an opponent. Whereas like the Atlanta Hawks, no experience, they're just kind of like thrown into this like with the
dude. Why you got to remind me?
I think it's just different.
I have to. It's
and look, you obviously, Super Mario Hoops, you're a huge Bulls fan. Romp, you're a huge Sixers fan. I'm Suns geek. Like, it's different perspectives, because Romp, I do get what you're saying, but my Phoenix Suns hadn't won in 10 years. So it's different.
But what I'm trying to get at is you should just be grateful for this.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. If you won in a year, you would be like,
that's why
forget about it.
Trolls get to me this offseason, and I hope next year we do win, and then maybe one day I'll kind of come back to this and say, Romp, I knew what you were talking about that night.
I think for me, what I've come to realize is my favorite thing about a team that I support is just having a team that I like. The players, they work hard, not like Ben Simmons, who doesn't work hard. And they're just fun to watch every night. And you enjoy watching them play because they put it on the line every night. And that's what this Suns team was. So, like,
Amen.
to be sad about what happened, yeah, you're going to be sad for 3 weeks. But this team was awesome. Like, every outside Suns fan fell in love with this team when their team was out. I guarantee that.
Right.
So, like, don't be that sad.
You know how many
Like,
comments
it's
I
not
would
a
get
big
saying,
deal.
I'm a fan of this team, but I'm rooting for the Suns.
Yeah, you'll get over it, and it'll be a good memory in like a year or whatever.
And I'm telling you guys, I'm not trying to get too preachy. And even though I do not live in Phoenix right now at this moment, I'm telling you that the whole slogan with Rally the Valley, it's true, guys. We brought back fans of old. We brought back fans of this new generation, and even fans like me that have been around. Like, the Suns are back. I am confident we're going to be back next year, and I am confident we're going to be good for years to come. And we all cannot predict the future. Maybe next year the Suns will be back in the finals, and we'll be right back here again. Hopefully, Romp, it's with your Sixers, so we can just do finals live stream.
No, winning's overrated. I don't even want to make the playoffs.
Hey, Zach Levine's hungry. He's hungry. He's coming out next year. He's gonna make the playoffs and gonna drop 35 a game, Finals MVP.
I do want to address a quick question here that's about the channel. Hey, Suns Geek, is this your last stream? No. I do want to do more live streams. Tons of videos are going to be coming out. And we've been talking about this together. I'm like, we got to just do some NBA stuff, even if it is on my channel or something like that. So stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned.
Yes, Suns Geek is retiring after this stream.
Yeah, you know what? I carried the Suns for 10 years when we were a bad team, and I'm sick of making videos. I'm sick of making live streams, and now that we lost, I'm done. I'm retiring.
Joshua Potter has a good comment.
Dude, Joshua has been like one of the MVPs of this chat. He said, honestly, as a Lakers fan, that 10 years of crap teams with Kobe made me really thankful when we started winning again. Exactly. I fell in love with the Suns team, even though I love Giannis.
Suns Geeks only fans confirmed.
A burner account.
He's gonna post all his hats on there.
A burner account is like a hero that we didn't deserve, but we needed, he's here when we need. Burner, I love you, man. I gotta get you on the channel sometime.
But now when you win the title, it's gonna be that much sweeter. Ooh.
Yeah.
It's gonna feel even better after the failure of this year.
Trill God has another good question here. He says, Suns Geek, how are you going to go to sleep? I haven't been sleeping since the playoffs started. I'll just say that. So again, I might take a couple days to myself, a couple mental health days, but then after that, I got to get back to work on this 29th pick that the Suns have. And Romp, that's where I'm going to go stalk your channel and watch all your videos, and hopefully the Suns can get a good pick.
Jeremiah Robinson or Charles Bassey. That's all you need to know. James Jones will probably pick like someone we haven't heard of, though. He always does that.
I had a long conversation with a coworker today, and I was like, James Jones like teases things. He's like, I'm going to go for this kind of a player or this kind of a draft pick, and then he like does like the complete opposite. So I'm like, he's going to pick somebody none of us are thinking about. By the way, I have the screenshot of Romp proving, speaking it to an existence, that the Suns were going to draft Jalen Smith.
That was hilarious.
They did draft Jalen Smith.
Yeah, you guys are making fun of my Kyle Lowry prediction. And, dude, I'm telling you, I predicted Jalen Smith to the Suns. I predicted the Bucks winning it all before the playoffs. And now I'm going to predict Kyle Lowry's going to win the championship next year. I'm telling you. I'm on fire.
Ooh, I got a question. maybe this is a live stream for another time. Somebody's calling me. I gotta hit decline.
Suns, they're offering you a contract.
It's Reliable Rants. He wanted to join. I might have to send him the link. But
he's recruiting you to the Lakers.
Speaking of Kyle Lowry, let's just say Kyle Lowry retired today. Is he a Hall of Famer?
Hell yeah.
I just say
sleeping on Kyle Lowry. I can't wait.
I just say yeah. I wouldn't say like that much emphasis, but
not
it's
like
just like
hell but like
it's
he's
like
a
okay, I guess. Because you got to think, like, I feel like people don't realize that the Basketball Hall of Fame, everyone says it's so easy to get in there, but you got to realize they only take like maybe 3 to 5 NBA players per year. And now if they're like a bunch of foreign players, they might take like more, like 6 or 7. I think this year is like 6 or something.
And look, I'm not saying it's easy to get to the Basketball Hall of Fame, but like this year we had players that averaged like 7, like Ben Wallace, for example, great defender, one of the best defenders of all time. But you guys get my point, you know? So I don't know. I think Kyle Lowry's a Hall of Famer.
Super Mario, what do you think Alonzo signing with the Bulls? Because it's basically confirmed per sources.
Lonzo Ball. I thought you said
Lowry got a Hall of Fame butt, if that counts.
I was confused. I thought you said like Alonzo Trier or something. I was like, I mean, I guess I'll take him, but I mean, I don't want to overpay him though. Like, I saw people saying like Lonzo will be expecting a contract of like 4 years, 110 million. I'm like, does he deserve that? Like, or are we just giving like money to everybody nowadays? Because he's a great player, and I think he's one of the low-key more valuable players in the league. I think that his value was shown the year that they missed the playoffs, like LeBron's first year in LA, because he was like the only one that was injured at the end of the season, and you know they were bad from the second half of the year. But I think like Lonzo has a like big impact, and I'd like him on the team, but I just don't think that he does enough to be worth like 25, 27 million a year. He's just not that player. If we were to get like him for a contract like what Luke Kennard just signed, like I think 4 years, 64 million, I'm like, I'll take it for sure. Or even like 70 million or something, but not that much.
My last opinion about Kyle Lowry real quick is 6-time All-Star, 2019 NBA champion, 2015-16 All-NBA. He's got 14,000 points to his career and nearly 6,000 assists. He's 5 assists away from 6,000. So that's not a Hall of Famer. I don't know what is.
Yeah, but you know what else? Okay, let me ask you guys then this. Is Kevin Love a Hall of Famer?
Ooh.
Because he's an NBA champion too, made one less All-Star team, one more All-NBA, most improved player 1 year.
30 game once.
He's gotten MVP shares in like 2 or 3 seasons in his career. But I'd say a lot of people would say like he's fringe level on Hall of Fame. And he's got a lot more of his career left. Like maybe he joins a contender, wins another ring or something.
Phoenix.
But like I wouldn't say he's like a secured Hall of Famer. Like he might make it one day.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm at with Kyle Lowry, because people don't realize like Lowry before he joined the Raptors, like he was like mid as an NBA player. Like he wasn't bad with Memphis, he wasn't bad with Houston, but like he wasn't anywhere near, like he hadn't built anything in his legacy at that point. He was just like a quality point guard.
Mm-hmm. That's facts.
Everything that's going towards his like Hall of Fame resume was made in Toronto, and a lot of those were like just all-star appearances. But you could look at like Joe Johnson. I think he made 7 and only like 1 All-NBA team. Is he a Hall of Famer? Probably not.
Probably not.
And he's one of the most clutch players like ever, I'd say.
And you know, we're not even talking about stuff that he does on the court and off the court and his playmaking and all that. But I don't know. We were talking about Kyle Lowry earlier, and he's obviously still very relevant in the NBA nowadays. And I'm just like, you know, I like to raise the Hall of Fame question because
Is Devin Booker a Hall of Famer, Sonski?
Yes. He's already one of the greatest Phoenix Suns players of all time.
Kyle Lowry's the greatest Raptor of all time, and that's a fact. Stoned.
And that's funny because, I mean, look at DeMar DeRozan, Vince Carter, and those 2 names alone. But yeah, Kyle Lowry is the greatest Raptor of all time.
I don't know if there's any player from the 2015 draft or later that's already a Hall of Famer except Luka. And that's because of what he's done outside of the NBA too.
Yeah.
So it's like he could retire today, and it's like you'd be like, how is he in the Hall of Fame? But like,
Yeah,
it's
he
the
would make it
basketball Hall
easy.
of Fame.
Overrated. No, just kidding.
It's a Suns channel, bro. You can't be saying that. Vince Carter or AI all time?
Reliable. I'm sorry. I saw your messages. I don't know how much longer we're gonna go. So
Allen Iverson,
This
all
is a
time over
debate?
Vince Carter.
Come on now. Reliable. Come on, bro.
yeah, Allen Iverson is arguably my all-time favorite player, even above Jordan. So I gotta go AI, man.
It's not just like AI is. Well, first of all, I think he's a better player. I think obviously having a league MVP, his impact offensively, and I think his impact like globally as well. Like he's one of the most influential players, probably a top 5 most influential player since like the turn of the decade, or not decade, the millennium.
Reliable. I'll send you the link real quick if you want to join us. I don't know how much longer we're gonna go.
True God says Chris Paul is a top 5 point guard of all time, ring or no ring.
I disagree.
True God.
I disagree.
Whoa, Super Mario.
But no. See, you're gonna be fine with it because of who I have in there. Like, I think it's pretty obvious the top 3 are like Magic, Oscar, and Steph. I would say most people would say that. And then 4th, I'd have to put Isaiah. And that's tough doing even as a Bulls
Isaiah
fan.
gets slept on the all-time greatest.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And then 5th, I mean, who would I put? I mean, I'm taking Steve Nash, honestly. 2-time MVP. I think his impact. See, it's interesting because people will look at like what Chris Paul did last year with the Thunder and say how he brought that team with no expectations to the first round. But then they'll forget that like Steve Nash with Stoudemire hurt and with Quentin Richardson gone and with Joe Johnson gone, like, and they didn't really add much that year either, and they still got to the conference finals, and he still won MVP that year. Like, that's pretty impressive in myself. And he was 50, 40, 90 that year and was more efficient than, like, all the top candidates, which I believe were, like, Dirk, Kobe, and LeBron from every single split.
How many games did Chris Paul miss in the playoffs this year?
Just 2, right?
It was.
But there was games where he was like basically 25%.
Yeah,
no, he only missed 2, but because I remember tweeting after Game 4, I said, "Now the Suns are 2-1 without Chris Paul," because he like didn't show up.
And there were some games where he did play, but he was basically benched after like the 3rd. So that was like shoulder problems. Yeah.
That's my one takeaway from the Suns postseason is I think they're a good team no matter what. I think it was a tad his leadership quality it's much needed on this young Suns team, but going forward, I think it's a tad bit overrated. That's a hot take though.
My boy, Reliable Rants, here to save us during this freestyle live stream. We're gonna full screen you, Reliable. How you doing, man? What's going on? What's your thought process?
Okay. Yeah, I have to make my late appearance once again. I mean,
save us, hero.
Look, honestly, I don't know if you guys have brought this up or not. I think you guys would have won this game if Giannis had a normal free throw shooting night. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, that's probably true.
That's where the names went. I had the donation thing over the names. I couldn't see anybody's name. Sorry.
My bro.
One of my thoughts.
Someone says you're high.
Romp broke. He's broken. Burner got me crying.
I'm not gonna lie.
Oh fuck, bro. I knew you shouldn't have full screened me, Sunzi.
What did Burner say? A top 5 point guard, Bender, Kwame Brown, Jimmer Fredette, Brandon Knight, Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah, Giannis was like that was the basketball gods. Like
Giannis averaged like 5.
He definitely watched Space Jam and he like had a poster of CP3 by him and like he like inserted CP3's mid-range jeans into his. Something weird like that because Giannis was not missing, Plus, he had a weird fadeaway that only like Michael Jordan could hit one time. Like that was unreal, man. That was the best finals performance I've seen in a while.
Reliable. Like what did you see from Giannis? What are your just takeaways from this final series?
Honestly, I don't know. I didn't see like anything different from how the Suns played in Game 7 versus Game 6. Really, I mean, kinda, but like it wasn't anything like that stood out. That it didn't look like that was something that would have beat the Bucks in their home arena. So it's like, I don't know. At the end of the day, I just want to give respect to the Bucks because I don't know. They came and played like it was like they wanted. I mean, look, y'all still played like good, but it's like it wasn't like something drastic from Game 5 that felt like you could have taken the series to 7. Like, I mean, and yeah, D-Book was pretty much getting locked up most of the game as well. And I mean, look, at the end of the day, Scott Foster's reffing, so you didn't stand much of a chance anyway.
That's true.
But yeah.
Well,
Suns geek.
Well, I'm gonna go cry now.
How was the beginning of this live stream? Like, how was Suns geek the beginning of this?
You guys take that away.
He had a nice speech in the beginning. I was like about to run through the screen. To be honest, it was inspiring.
I told them I filmed like a 2-minute video before I went live, and I went off. You know me, I usually have like a script and I have like notes and stuff. I didn't even do that this time. I'm like, I don't even care. I'm just like, I just want to just talk, you know. So told them eventually it's probably gonna hit me, and
I think you should ask him the tough question you asked us.
Oh God.
Put him on the spot.
Bro, I just got home, man.
Dude,
like,
Reliable, you did that last live stream when you said like, "What's your mindset for games?"
Oh yeah,
I told you the truth. What?
Can you tell me that? Can we? Jesus Christ,
Bro, he's high.
Bro, I'm just tired. Can you tell me like what your actual thought process was now that it's passed?
I knew we were gonna lose during this game, and I think we blew it in Game 5. I think Game 5 was a must win.
I think you played better in Game 5 than you did in this game.
Oh, absolutely. And I think we were shook. I think we were nervous. Devin Booker couldn't get anything going.
Super Mario, can I ask you what on earth that big head in the back is?
That's me.
That's you?
We're gonna full screen you.
Oh, your hair, like
your
preview.
fame. This is your fame.
Yeah, here. Let me get it.
Show it. We're just chilling at this point.
Bro, you
Bro,
What's wrong with it? Also,
No,
sorry,
you look
I'm wearing my 10-year-old Brandon Jennings jersey.
Yeah.
Bro,
I mean,
imagine waking
you
up
grew
to
like
that, man.
you grew like facial hair and got like
Is that next to your bed, man? Imagine
No.
waking up and it's just staring at you.
He's sociopath.
It's like,
No, it's not. That would be creepy, honestly.
Oh God!
All right, Reliable, what is-
so I can
give
die
us-
laughing?
Give us your off-season moves for the Suns.
For the
Yeah,
Sun.
Reliable.
Bro, I haven't done a lot of draft homework. Although
No, not draft, just
yeah, I know, but
The
no,
29th pick is gonna send to the Suns to the finals next
yeah.
year.
No, just when I think of offseason, I think of. But look, like, I mean, obviously, you guys have so many expiring contracts, so I think the priority has to be figuring that out. Because chances are, if it doesn't get played right, then you could lose one of your major players. I mean, or just lose their morale with the team. So it's like, who's a free agent? Mikal Bridges, Chris Paul, Jay Crowder. Is that
No,
like
Jake Crowder's locked up, but
Campaign.
Mikal Bridges and DeAndre Ayton have expiring rookie contracts.
yeah? So it's like, I mean,
Campaign's a free agent.
you could take the qualifying offer, but then that'll just leave a problem for next year. So I think that's probably the number one priority. And then
I don't
after
know how
that,
we're gonna re-sign Torrey Craig. No
yeah, I
clue
mean,
of
just
that.
role players. And then after you obviously you're gonna have a lot of like veterans who are gonna want to sign with you after you just made the finals. So I think taking what you can get out of the remaining free agents for like minimum wage. What the fuck? I said
Minimum. Yeah,
veterans.
veterans minimum.
So yeah, I mean, I just think first of all is just bringing the team back, getting the players under wraps, and then adding what you can get to like improve them.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the only way to go about it, right?
a lot of people
say bye-bye to Campaign and Torrey Craig.
But then I'll be sad.
Exactly.
A lot of
think
people
Rich-
saying Lonzo.
I low-key love Lonzo Ball.
You guys can't afford another free agent that's not on your team.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, dude, I don't know how James Jones is going to pay all these guys. We might have to do what the Warriors did and like enter the luxury tax and just
Yeah, that's
overpay
probably what's
everybody.
gonna happen. That's probably what's gonna happen.
You should
Priority
bring
first.
in Nerlens Noel, like Super Mario was saying.
Is Robert Sarver rich or something?
Yeah.
Is that good? I mean, yeah,
He's probably rich now. I mean, he already was rich. He's owned this team for a long time, and he's probably super rich now. And I think I remember there was I want to do a video on this. There was an interview that he had earlier this season where he said, like, I think I finally figured it out. And he like kind of made a good point. He's like, technically it's not my job to like pay all these players. Like technically it's the general manager's job. But what I took away from that was like, I think he kind of woke up and I think he realized, hey, I got to sign good players and pay people and all that. And
It's not
I hope he's
possible.
going to do it.
It's not possible to sign CP3, Bridges, and Aiden. Isn't Cam Johnson free
I'm
agent
saying
too?
it'll be really
Cam
hard.
Johnson's still.
Oh, you're
like,
still good with Cam
you
You
Johnson?
guys are gonna have to figure this out somehow. Like I think that has to be the number one priority this offseason, obviously.
I'm signing the young guys. I'm getting my core, even though it might not
Priorities
result.
first.
Even
By the way,
if
I
I'm
don't have
a,
a LinkedIn, so I probably sound like trash right now, but
So
if I'm a GM, like I'm going GM mode, I'm solidifying my future, signing the young guys.
Well, don't
And
they
it's-
have bird rights on Mikel and Ayton now? Because they've been there like 3 years. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So, like, if they were to sign CP3 first, and then I believe they can go like over the cap to bring those guys. But if they sign CP3 to like a smaller like time frame of a deal, like they can't sign him for like 4 years for like a ton of money. It'd be like maybe like a 1 or 2 year deal or something.
it's
like
gonna
that.
be like a 2-year, like 47 or 48 or something like that.
Like an option with it, maybe like a team option or
Yeah,
something.
something like that. Like one of those, like actually, never mind. I was gonna say like, you know how like LeBron kept doing 1-on-1s with the Cavs, and so
Yeah.
like it might be something like that. Although Chris Paul only has a couple more years left.
I think he's gonna opt out because he's currently under one contract. He's like it's like 44 mil or something like that. He's gonna opt out, and then we'll just see what happens. I don't think he's gonna be a free agent or anything like that. I think he's just literally just gonna restructure the contract. I think honestly the bigger concern is just his health at this point. You know, he's got all off season to do that. Hopefully his hand injury isn't anything too serious. And honestly, I don't think the Suns are going to focus on that right away because the draft is in literally 9 days or 8 days. So you guys get my point. After the draft, they'll focus on all that shit. So I don't know.
Oh, I was gonna ask you guys what you guys think about this. I tweeted in after game 4 about. I said just a reminder that Giannis is playing right now in the finals better than Steph Curry ever has. And a bunch of Warriors fans came at me like a flock of geese or something. And they were all over me. Like they were so mad. I got like I think 6 replies with like D Rose on the ground after he tore his ACL and stuff, which was kind of messed up. But
Damn.
well, now that we've seen that the Bucks have won and what Giannis has done, Finals MVP, the way he performed the game tonight and stuff. I want to know what you guys think. Like, is that facts or not?
What do you mean facts?
Well, I said Giannis in these finals performed better than any finals series that Steph Curry ever did.
Let me pull up the stats actually just to get a better opinion.
Yeah, that's hard too because obviously Curry's been there more. And I get what you're saying, but like I don't know,
They
man.
didn't like that at all.
But like
And
Curry's
tough.
like,
That's tough.
but Curry can't. It's way harder to dominate as a 6'3", whatever scrawny
I agree.
Curry
With a bunch
is.
of great
Well,
shooters on your
Giannis is
team.
7 foot with great handle. Like
Mhm.
it's just like hard to compare the two.
And also, you know, when KD came, I would argue Curry wasn't even the number one option on his team.
Mhm.
So that would take away. But no, I see what you're saying. I mean, Curry obviously has never been notoriously known for playing well in the finals. So like Giannis,
and I'm not trying to say like Curry like
was like
in
trash.
terms of like a whole playoff run or like he doesn't perform in the playoffs or something. I'm just comparing like their final series because like, well, obviously Steph has never won Finals MVP, and like maybe the best case was 2015. I know he played solid in 2019. Of course, they lost. Of course, he was a little inefficient there too. I don't know. I feel like Giannis though like dominated in a way where it's like we probably haven't seen it since like Shaq. That's what I took away from the series.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've really seen a player like Giannis since Shaq. Maybe. I mean, it's just like a wing who's like power forward center who's super dominant. I know Romp is out here thinking of Joel Embiid.
And he's so hard to officiate, just like Shaq.
See, the thing is,
he's fast. Go ahead, Romp.
See, the thing is, the refereeing in today's NBA, it benefits it benefits smaller guards like Trae Young. We saw all postseason long, but Giannis plays like a smaller guard, so he gets officiated like that when he's driving. Does that make sense?
No.
Because like
I actually
you'll see him drive and he'll just bump into a player.
You mean like
and he'll
starts from the 3-point line and like I see what you're saying actually. Like
because refs they're just thinking, oh, it's a drive. Now I gotta officiate this way. And when he drives, he automatically goes into someone and he'll go, oh, and he'll lay it in with his
how's he do that again?
Yeah, but he doesn't
wingspan.
He doesn't have that, and that's just not something like in his repertoire, but he's not like one of those guys that's able to pull off something in terms of play style like Paul George or James Harden, where he's able to get those calls in the perimeter or like in the mid-range. Like it's only if he's attacking the basket. Like I get what you're saying from that point, but
most of the time it is a foul. Like if we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
I think there's more like if we're just being realistic, the way like the rule is written, there's like more uncalled fouls on Giannis than there is overcalled. If you think about it, like most of the time, if like it or not, Giannis is going to get fouled or get a layup.
Well, and that's something you see with like LeBron too. Like the way that he's just so strong that sometimes what might seem like a real foul or a real touch for a guy like, like a small guard, like if it's Chris Paul or Curry or Dame or something, like a guy like LeBron's size or a guy like Giannis's size or a guy like Shaq's size down low, like it might seem like a lot less, just because they're so much stronger or something. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then it's just like fans and other players complain about like people excessively going to the free throw line. It's like, bro, like if you look like he earns it. Like
you know what the NBA should do? They should make the players call fouls like at the park. That's what should happen.
That's so stupid.
Call your own fouls. That'd be more entertaining, bro.
Chaos, but,
that'd be abused.
At the end of the game, literally the game plan of any team at the end of a game, if they're like down by 1, it's like, all right, give it to the center and have them call a foul. So,
but the players should be voting on the All-Stars and all that.
I will say, like they need new refs.
Yeah, it's like, so bad
because there's so many times where. And this happened a lot, like with the Bulls. I know the Bulls, like we suck and everything like that. But I don't know how many games, including like one early in the year with like the Warriors, they got like 4 calls wrong in the last minute, and then they came out in the 2-minute report at the end of the game, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we messed up like all this stuff," and then we lost that game.
I think they should pay Elon Musk to make like some AI, like crazy artificial intelligence reffing system. Where they can like a computer can like ref the game.
No, you know what they need?
Better than 2. Okay.
Yeah. You know what NBA refs need? Common sense. If someone's jumping into a defender, you don't call a foul. It's not that hard. Why do we have to go through a rule change?
But that's not the ref's fault. That's the rule book.
Well, why can't you add common sense to the rule book? You know what I'm saying? Like if someone pump fakes and jumps into it and it's not a natural shot, then don't call it. I
think the refs need to be I think the refs need to be locked in a room and they need to watch film on like the 80s and 90s and see how basketball was once played and how physical it used to be.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they came up. Most refs came up during that era. You know,
I just feel like the refs sometimes like they'll make a call and then like it might be pretty clearly wrong, but not like 100%. And they're just like, yeah, like we'll just keep the call. Like I feel like they just don't want to be wrong sometimes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes it's like, all right, it's the finals, we won't call as many fouls. So then it's like that's just stupid because then you have like players like saying, "Where's my call?" It's like, oh, we're not calling it for both teams. But it's like, what's the rule book of the NBA? So it's like I feel like refs change their standards sometimes when it comes to a specific situation or like series.
Do something, Adam Silver. Fix
Have you guys been watching the Olympics?
No,
it's pretty funny because like sometimes,
yeah, I heard about this though. Yeah,
sometimes the NBA players like try to get the pump fake and jump into defenders, and they don't call it.
They don't call it, yeah.
And it's hilarious to watch because it's actually officiated good.
Yeah, I heard. I saw a clip of that on Twitter.
Well, I feel like I don't know. It's weird sometimes, like the way the refs decide what they're gonna like review in the middle of the game, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like they need to be consistent, and this is, like, I've mentioned the challenge rule needs to be changed before, but, like, wasn't it, like, Game 5 when P.J. Tucker fouled, I think, like, Mikal Bridges or something, and then that's when Booker got that dunk, and then Giannis fouled him after, but then, like, that was so confusing, and they were, like, reviewing, like, who the foul was on and stuff, looking at clear path, and it's, like, I don't know, like, it's just weird how they decide what to review and when.
Yeah, another thing that's another thing where they need common sense. It's like they can't even trust themselves with a call. They're just like, oh, we got to review it now. We got to take 20 minutes, and it just disrupts the flow of the game.
It's like the last 2 minutes. It's like any call, a player could just be like, oh, I know it went on another team, but just review it. So like take a break.
Yeah,
and
it's like you don't have to listen to them.
That's literally legal because any call can be reviewed under 2 minutes. So then 2 minutes, as it's been a common problem, lasts for like 3 millennials.
I was watching the game with my dad, and I'm like, dude, give me a whistle because I'm calling these calls before they are, like the refs. And that was like in time, like in action, stuff like that. But like, I'm not like saying something like that, but they just got to like get better refs, or they got to get like, they got to be willing to accept the fact that they're wrong more, or change the rules.
Yeah, it pisses me off so much when like there's an obvious wrong call, a player gets mad at it, and they get a T for it. Like that's the most frustrating thing to me.
You know, refs should have to have post game interviews too. If their name's going to be out there, they should have to answer questions about their bad calls. Plus, we shouldn't even know their names. They should just be numbers because when you're a ref, it's not about who you are. You're not the show. The players are the show. And there's too many refs with the egos, you know what I'm saying?
And I agree with what Joshua said.
That's the most like beautifully well said thing.
When Bobby Portis was dancing down the other end, why the hell would you call technical in the finals? Like, come on, man.
He ran away. He was doing
because he made you look bad? Dude, you're a referee getting paid like a lot of money to ref.
The fact that Scott Foster is this popular and like memeable is like not okay. Because like Rom exactly said, refs should be an afterthought. They should be people keeping the game under control, not the main topic of the game. Because, like, it's so. I mean, it's just that, like.
Suns Geek, if I was officiating the game today, I would have made sure Jeff Teague got ejected in that 1 minute and 33 seconds he was out there.
He like walks up to the ref, shakes his hand. How you doing, man? You ejected from the game.
Nope, you're gone.
Bro,
I don't want to see you.
There's this one time where Chris Paul was about to like snap at what's his face, Scott Foster. Then I think Bobby Portis was there to just like stop him.
Yeah, and he was like laughing at.
They were talking before the game too, Scott Foster and Chris Paul. I wish I could have been a fly like on the shoulder and listen to that conversation.
I don't even. If I'm being honest, I don't even know what a foul is anymore in the NBA.
Facts. The NBA doesn't even know what a foul is.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, there were too many times. I think I counted like there were 5 or 6 in the game today where someone shot a jump shot and then they called a foul, but it's the rule where they like stuck their leg out and like tried to initiate like, isn't that an offensive foul? And like I remember that since your guy Lowry did it. I think against the Kings.
Oh, he's
Like,
a good flopper. He's a great flopper.
And then he freaked
Bad
out or
grade
something.
better.
But that's like when they changed the rule. So like I don't know. It doesn't make sense. And
You
then
know
like the
Wow,
big
Lowry changed the NBA.
If you think about it, any rule or call in the NBA, there's some confusion behind it. Just think
Yeah.
of anything. Like a travel. No one knows what a travel is anymore. A foul. No one knows what a foul is
They
anymore.
don't call travels.
Suns fans were complaining
Exactly.
that
Well,
I
Giannis
mean,
no,
got
they-
it.
it's like
they
3
called one
steps,
today.
too.
They called the travel today on Giannis
Yeah,
when
on
he
Giannis.
picked up the
That's
ball or
Like,
something.
we don't know what any rule is anymore. Like anything. Like you
Bro,
can think of any rule in basketball.
Low key, half the time, Giannis takes like 2.5 steps.
Yeah. Like we don't
You
know
can-
even know the 10-second free throw rule. Like obviously, like that's before like 10 count like by the fans was happening. Giannis would take like 20 seconds and no one would notice.
It's about like the way I think it's gathered though too. Like there's some times where like you can tell if something looks awkward and it's like, dude, that's a travel. But
Facts.
Bernie
guys.
says, "Are there rules in basketball?"
Oh no, Sun Geek's tapping out now.
I was
Don't
just gonna
cry.
say, there's we were. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I was gonna see if you guys got any final thoughts.
Rom's about to say that we should hit 2 hours.
Let's start with reliable here. I mean, you got any final thoughts? Got any words of encouragement for a sad Suns fan right now?
I mean, not really, Sun Geek. This is why. This is why, bro.
No,
One,
really.
you're gonna have to re-sign all your players this year, which is gonna be hard. And then 2, you're gonna have to play healthy super teams next year, which isn't gonna be fun. Although at the end of the
Oh my
day,
God, jeez, that's ruthless.
I'm just being honest, man. I'm just being honest. But Suns, look, at the end of the day, we can all use common sense. The Suns are still going to be one of the best teams in the NBA.
Facts.
Like, so you got that to look forward. You still have a Chris Paul for another 2 years. And look, next year, I feel like you guys still have a good leg in the race. I think we can all agree on that. Like, other teams injured or not. So it's like, it was the whole entire team. I think Jay Crowder was the only player who's ever had any sort of finals experience. So it was the entire team's first time in the NBA finals, or let alone the playoffs for most of them. So like, look, y'all are gonna come back more matured and shit. And yeah, I just wanted to make Suns Geek feel good. I'm not gonna lie to you.
A burner account says, "Okay, reliable rants. I'm getting the rope. Thanks for cheering me up." Romp, you got any final thoughts before we close this out?
I didn't get that reference for like 3 seconds.
I would sign the young guys, get rid of CP3, and then bring in an oldie and Kyle Lowry, and run it back. But you guys will get over it. It was a good season. You'll be happy. Life
Super
goes
Mario,
on.
you got any final thoughts before we close this out?
Not really. I mean, I guess my words of encouragement would be everything like reliable just said. I want to put a pause on. I think the last time I was on your channel, I said Devin Booker is going to end up with a better career than Giannis, but Giannis just came out with like 4 of the craziest games ever. So I don't want to like completely go away from that, but I'm gonna put a pause on that.
Until Booker starts winning some awards.
I'm taking a long time out on that.
Mhm.
Shout out to recency bias for that one.
Yeah, we were wild on that. I was wild on that.
Well, he was going off, and like I was seeing like in the first 2 games, I'm like, dude, this guy is like, he is like the next Kobe and stuff like that. But then Giannis, like, I mean, he proved us, both me and Romp wrong. I mean, it was bad.
But seriously, hell of a ride, and Suns Intense as a burner.
Bro, what the hell is your profile picture? Like, what is that?
That's a burner's
Don't
profile
ask, man.
picture.
Bro,
Don't
it's got
ask her.
like a perm. It looks like it just got like struck
Dude,
by
he's gonna. Oh God, you're getting kidnapped.
I think that's Alfred Payton.
Former Suns legend.
Burner's about to kidnap
Bro, the hair
Reliable
looks
for.
exactly like Alfred Payton. Oh my god, that was funny.
On that note, guys, it's been an incredible season. I'm gonna literally upload a quick little 2-minute video after this that I filmed prior to this, and stay confident, Suns fans. It's gonna be a wild off season. Strap in, have faith in this team. I'm probably gonna cry tomorrow. I feel it. It's coming. Like the tears are gonna flow. Maybe I'll upload it on the channel for fun. But what an incredible season. Tears of joy is what I'm gonna say. And thank you guys. You guys saved me on this because I didn't even know what to talk about half the time. So you guys saved me. So once again, check out everybody's links down below in the description. Romp 2.0, Reliable Rants, Super Mario Hoops 24.
I don't want credit for this one. I came for 10 minutes.
No, you saved us at the end, just like you did like a couple live streams ago.
For some reason, I just get home at late time.
I thought you were Romp 3.0.
Yeah, fact.
Speaking of Romp, before we go, he started a second channel with with Steven, who is the Daily Drip on YouTube. New Sixers channel, so go subscribe to that if you want.
That channel has changed like 8 times.
If you want all your Sixers news.
If you want to hear me make fun of the Sixers.
Remember Luke's Thoughts?
Oh, that was a good channel. But it's actually
Breaking news. Authorities are searching for reliable rants. Went missing yesterday after podcast sources claimed this was a kidnapping. I'm sorry.
Like that. Okay. Like honestly, like that just isn't funny. Like that had no comedic value to any of the 4
I think
people.
it's pretty funny. I thought it was pretty funny. That was a good one, bro.
I didn't see you guys.
And the stream, Sunski. Jesus Christ.
Burner, I don't have anything to roast because we don't know anything about you.
That's the point. That's why you don't mess with him.
Hey Burner,
his profile picture, bro. Why would you mess with a guy like that, man? He's gonna.
Hey, you know what? Believe it or not, I've seen worse comments than that one on these live streams before. You guys know that's true.
Well,
too.
people just hate me. Just like that's just how it is. I got like 752 dislikes on a video once.
That's funny.
All right, guys. Thank you to everybody who watched. Make sure to Hulk smash that like button and please subscribe for everything Phoenix Suns. If it has to deal with the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to make a video about it. Stay tuned for future live streams, future content, especially headed before the draft. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.